All right, Michael. So here we are. Last time I saw you, you were on the stand.
Yes, I was. 21 hours
21
on the
hours.
stand.
And so now you are 24 hours in. Do you feel it?
I actually don't. You know, I have very mixed emotions. I've kind of had this conversation with my wife and my children because they asked me the identical question. I believe that Donald should be held accountable. I believe that the verdict was right, that the jurors did exactly what they were supposed to do, despite Donald's, admonition for the judge was conflicted, the jurors are no good, the venue was no good, only because he wants to control all aspects of the case, which of course he does not have the right to do. Nevertheless, I believe the jurors came back with the right decision. Problem, though, is I have family all over the world, and I've been speaking to a lot of them who say to me, can't believe that this is the United States of America, that the former president of the United States is now a felon, that he's convicted on 34 out of 34 charges. What's happening over there? That this is more like something you would have seen with Noriega, not with America.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, Michael, that, because today when he spoke, when he came in Trump Tower, a place that you used to go every single day, came down that escalator that you went up every single day, and he said that he should have testified in his 35-minute speech. Do you think he should have testified?
Absolutely not. Donald and the truth are two very divergent issues. Donald doesn't know how to tell the truth. His lies are compounded only by lies. You know the old expression, a lie begets a lie? Well, what happens when you've told 35,000 plus of them? He can't keep the story straight. So it was finally a smart move by whoever told him not to, because some of the things that they're telling him, his legal strategists, whether it's Todd Blanche or Boris Epshteyn, I have no idea who the legal strategist is, but I've now coined my own sort of phrase to go against the Todd Blanche, Donald Trump gloat acronym.
Yeah, they call you the greatest liar of all time.
Yeah, and I call him a sloat, the stupidest lawyer of all time, because anybody that would allow Donald Trump to create their own strategy for a defense in a case like this, after he's gotten beaten so badly again and again and again, is clearly stupid.
All right. On the issue of telling the truth, and there's a lot I want to talk about here because this is important, but after the verdict, Trump's attorney, Blanche, he asked the judge to set aside the verdict, nope, and acquit Trump. And the reason that Blanche said this is, quote, there's no basis and there's no way this jury could have reached a verdict without accepting the testimony of Mr. Cohen. And we believe unequivocally that that testimony, even though it would stand in this courtroom, that he lied. There was perjury committed. Did you lie under oath?
No. In fact, one of the things that I thought Alvin Bragg, Susan Hoffinger, and Josh Steinglass did that was brilliant is they laid out their entire case even before I got to the stand. There were 19 witnesses that preceded me on the stand, and each one of them told a story. And that story corroborates what I have been saying for 6 years. Not 1 year, not 2 years, but 6 years telling the same story. But here's the beautiful thing. They brought me in at the very end, not to be, as the media wants to call me, the key witness. I'll accept it, but that's not what I call myself. I am the narrator of the story.
Yes,
and what I did is I took everybody's statements. I took documentary evidence, emails, text messages, etc., recordings. And what did we do? We took the statements by other witnesses, we put it all together, which corroborated everything that I'm saying. So just because Donald Trump or Todd Blanche makes a statement that Michael Cohen committed perjury, it doesn't make a difference what they say. It's not supported by any of the jurors, any of the 12 jurors. It wasn't supported by the judge. It's not supported by anything other than the defendant himself and his lawyer.
Well, and of course, they'll have to fight that on appeal. I mean, okay, this all goes back to, and I want to start here on one thing. You went to prison because you lied to Congress, and you've said you did that to protect Donald Trump. You were working for Donald Trump, you did that to protect him. And you told me that prison takes your soul. So now do you think about it in the context of Donald Trump? Do you want that to happen to him too?
I would like for him to experience what I felt. I'd like for him to experience what 51 days of solitary confinement feels like, considering he and Bill Barr were the ones that actually caused the 51 days of solitary confinement. So, yeah, I would. However, out of respect for the office of the presidency and believing that Judge Merchan is really very Solomonian as a judge, I'm not certain that Donald will ever see the inside of a prison. I believe it'll probably be an incredibly strict home confinement scenario where it's the same as being there. You're not going to have access to the internet. People don't just come in and come out. Yeah, the only difference is he'll have his own food, but he's not going to have the access. He's not going to run.
And are you okay with that?
Yes, and I'm okay with it only because of my respect for the process, my respect for the office of the presidency. My concern goes far greater than enjoying seeing Donald go into a prison and wearing an orange jumpsuit. Donald will talk about things that he shouldn't talk about. He will give up national security secrets. Let's not forget, for 4 years.
You're saying if he's in prison?
Yes, for 4 years. He was debriefed, and he's going to be debriefed now too as a felon, which blows my mind. If he becomes the Republican nominee, will he give away that information and put yours, mine, and our families and everybody's families in harm's way? Absolutely.
So, okay, I understand how you're saying that you want him to feel that feeling of a loss of soul. If he does not win the election, he could be going to prison in this case as well as in federal cases, right? January 6th, Mar-a-Lago. I don't know if you've had a chance to think about this yourself, sort of, kind of in your own heart. Do you think President Biden should pardon him?
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
Because I think it would be wrong. I think that the country deserves to know that no one is above the law, and that includes a rogue former president who has done everything to violate the Constitution, the very document that is the foundation of our democracy.
So he spoke about you today at that speech he gave
What
at
else
Trump
is
Tower.
new?
Let me just play exactly what he said about you.
I'm not allowed to use his name because of the gag order. But, he's a sleazebag. Everybody knows that. Took me a while to find out. But he was effective. He did work. But he wasn't a fixer. He was a lawyer.
So he's still talking about you. Actually, you're a sleazebag, but you were effective.
Yeah, all right. I'm an effective sleazebag. Again, there's nothing that Donald Trump can say that has any effect upon me at all. The days of me being in the cult, of that dumpster cult of Donald Trump, is over. Right now, he wants to call me a convict. He wants to call me a felon. Guess what, pal? So are you. So are you.
When you and I had a conversation a couple months ago, and we were talking about the lying to Congress, and you said that at that time, if you had not been caught, if that hadn't caught up to you at that time, you were still working for him, you were lying on his behalf, that you were wondering whether you would still be working for Trump. Do you think you'd still be working for Trump now?
I know this is going to sound sort of, Hollywoodish, but it's an issue that keeps me up a lot at night. It plays in my head all the time. Where would I be? When I was in Otisville, there were a couple of inmates, friends of mine, that would say, why don't you just keep your mouth shut? Stop attacking the president, because he was the president at the time.
Yeah.
Stop meeting with the Manhattan DA, who came up 3 times while I was there.
Yeah.
He'll pardon you. You'll end up working for Fox News or Newsmax or OAN, or you'll run the RNC or something like that, and your life will go back into something great, and he'll be the president again, and I couldn't do it. I made a promise to my wife, my daughter, my son, and the country that my loyalty for him, or for him, was over. And I had said that going back to July 1st of 2018. And it has been 6 years. Next month, it'll be 6 years since I made that promise. I did it on ABC with George Stephanopoulos.
Yep.
And I said I was going to live up to it. I'm going to do that so I can show my children that doing the right thing, it's never bad to do the right thing.
Well, Michael, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. I know it's been a 6-year saga, a marathon, and the past 24 hours have been a sprint.
That
Thank
it
you.
has. Good to see you.
All right.